Fictitious Communications presents To the Survivors, episodes written by Biola Olatunde, inspired by the book of same title written by Robert Otaro. My name is Biola Olatunde. I have the pleasure to invite you to today's program, To the Survivors. In this program, we will discuss issues of rape, domestic violence, sexual violence, what the survivors and the families go through, government reaction, policies, and society's responsibilities in the epidemic. At the end of each episode, we will appeal that you send in your reaction, your thoughts, suggestions, and even share experiences. If it is an experience, we will keep the confidential and use the writer's right to dramatize your experience. All character drama are fictitious and have no bearing on any person or location. Welcome to the survivors.
Shola, we had better make a fast drive home. This weather is something else.
Yes, Mrs. Robert. The rain is really fierce and the clap of thunder was frightening.
That was something. Shola, make a move on. Even the bus stops are empty. And drive carefully. No need to splash muddy water on stranded passengers.
Yes, Mrs. Roberts. I'm being careful.
Shola, stop. There is a girl at that bus stop we passed. Reverse a bit. We must help her.
Yes, madam.
Lord in heavens, she seems hot. Hey, young lady. Let me help you to where you may be going. Come inside. Please help me. Please help me, oh Lord. Somebody help me. Shola, come out of the car and help me with the girl. She has collapsed. That is closed. We are soaked and heavens, she has fainted.
What should we do now, Mrs. Roberts?
She is bleeding. Looks like she's hot. Her clothes are torn and her face looks swollen. Let's take her to the doctor for first aid, and when she comes round, we will know what next to do. Drive to the clinic, Shola, and hurry. I don't like the look. Thank you, doctor. Has the young lady I brought in recovered enough for her to give you particulars now?
No, Mrs. Roberts. She's in shock. She has been raped and very brutally.
What? And left there in the rain? That is worse than cruel.
She's very lucky to be alive, Mrs. Roberts. And lucky you drove past and helped her. She would have died at the bus stop from a combination of so many things.
Thank you, doctor. So what happens now?
The usual, we have a rape kit on standby. She is stable now, but the nurse has collected the semen and we're putting things together in the rape kit for her. Maybe you should call somebody in the vice department to come and see her when she is ready to make a statement.
Is there a phone with her? Maybe we can trace someone who will know something about her, like her mother. They might be frightened seeing a police officer at their doorstep. They will be worried sick by now.
That is a good idea. You can come with me and we will look through her bag you brought in. Her phone was in her inner zip. Otherwise, her bag was cleaned out.
How terrible. She would have been just a statistic. Good morning, Mr. Olaniyan.
You are Mrs. Roberts, the one who called last night. You called my sister, the mother of Olayinka.
Yes, I am Mrs. Roberts. Please have a seat. We had given her a rape kit, which is a normal practice, and we want you to help with the police.
No police. Eh? It will bring shame and disgrace to the family. Her father will disown her if it becomes a police case. People will make fun. Police case? No. You know what? I'll dissolve my sister. I'm sure we'll pay for your troubles. And maybe send Olayinka outside the country until the story dies down.
Rape is a crime against the fundamental rights of your niece. Have you thought of the effect of this rape on her? Her future? How she rationalize her relationship from now on? She has to survive too. She has to learn to trust other human beings, negotiate a relationship with others. She is in shock now. Won't you help her get some justice? Does she deserve some recognition as a human being at least? We keep quiet about rape and we fear the ridicule of the society, but What about the survivors of rape? How do they survive every day living with anger, shame, helplessness?
Indeed, rape is a crime against the fundamental rights of all human beings. What is the effect of rape on the survivors? We rather want to use the word the survivors than the general term the victims. And today we'll be looking at that question: what is rape? The effect on the survivors? How do they rationalize their relationships from now on? What should they do about the nightmares, the anger, the shame that they feel? Do we regard rape as the new normal, or should we see it as a stain on us as humanity? Do we regard rape as just one of those things? And it's getting worse by the day. Children, 3 years old, 2 years old, 6 months, old women, 70, 75, even as old as 95, get raped. Is there an epidemic of rape in the country? How do we stand and call ourselves human beings when we have this dogging our footsteps, our friends, our loved ones, our families, our children? And so I have with me today a panel of discussants who will be talking to us and explaining, as they understand it, what rape should be. I have with me Mr. Segun Omojola. Welcome to the program.
It's nice to be here, though I wonder where the Mr. came from.
All right. It's a discussion program, so everybody has to be given the formal titles. I also have someone who teaches young people how to be entrepreneurs, who is a walking encyclopedia about how to make your own money, which seems to be the craze all over the country now, in the person of Mr. Omojade Ogudo.
It's good to have me. I'm happy to be here.
And then my dramatize extraordinaire, producer emeritus, Ayokunle Ajishafe. Welcome to the program.
Thank you for not using Mr.
Yeah, nice one. You see,
And I have a young, tiny lady, petite, pesky, precocious, but very interesting to talk with. Benedicta, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much.
Let's start with the lady, because we say ladies first. As a young woman, how does it feel like when you hear about rape?
Sometimes it feels so unexplainable. You don't know why, you feel so confused. You don't want to hear it at all. You know, there's a lot of things that comes to your brain.
A lot of things comes to your brain. It doesn't look normal, right?
Yes.
But I understand from the men folk, and I'll ask somebody else to confirm that in a moment, that sometimes the younger girls bring about the issue of rape. I'm still wondering how a 3-year-old can excite a man to rape. But I understand that as younger girls, the way you dress, the way you make up, the way you get about doing things is what encourages the men, that when you girls say no, you're actually saying yes. Is that true?
No, it's not.
When a girl says no, she means no?
Yes.
So how come they don't believe you?
Because they have a different thinking. They have this thing in their brain already. When you see a girl, if you don't want to rape her at the end of the day, irrespective of what she's wearing, you would not. But those who do raping, they have this thought at the back of their brain that they will do something like this if they have this chance.
Segun,
Yep.
is it possible we understand why men rape?
Well, okay, because I'm a man, people might think that I will have a ready answer for that. But interestingly, I don't, because to me, it shocks me, it amazes me that men, will actually resort to that act, that terrible act. To me, it doesn't make sense. The only way I can define it is that it's some form of demonic oppression or madness or mental issues, that will make someone do that, because it doesn't make sense to me. We have plenty beautiful ladies, okay men, that you can actually negotiate and, have consensual intercourse with. If you must have, you can. And if you don't want to do that, then we have those that are sex workers, basically, that collect money and then allow you to, sleep with them. So you can actually pay them, rather than resorting to forcing yourself on someone that does not want it. So maybe Omon or Ayo will understand the mindset of a rapist, but seriously, me, I can't.
I like that. Wait, Omon, now, there is a question into my mind I would like to understand. Rape is denying a human being, could be a boy, could be a girl, is denying a human being his or her fundamental human right, the right to say no and have that no respected. In your understanding, in working with young people, what have you been able to sense as the rationale, if there is supposed to be rationale, to rape?
Thank you that you mentioned that. I was just thinking while we're looking at rape with regards to men. Rape could be from whichever gender, whether female or male. But interestingly, I saw this and I just felt that I should read out. Africa has the highest prevalence of rate of child sexual abuse, around 34.4%. Again, findings from the national survey carried out in 2014, violence against children in Nigeria confirmed that 4 females reported experiencing sexual violence in childhood, approximately 70% reporting more than, all of that. Now, your question, looking at this, what goes into the mind of the individual? I think is more about what perception, what the society brings, the pictures that they carry, the images that they carry in their mind, the society or the culture. A lot of people probably they don't have access to. The society frowns against you having an affair with someone, so you're forced to think that, okay, since I don't, can I do this in the closet? Nobody sees me, and then you find a way around. For young people, I'm looking at young people first. They're not married yet, and so you see young boys or young girls. Anybody could be raped. The young girl could be raped. The young boy. I have cases. I've heard stories. I've read cases in the newspapers where young boys were also raped by their teachers, by their mentors, by their house helps. Boys were also raped. At the same time, girls were also raped as well. It goes for the gender, the two cases, the male and the female. But most importantly, I think the society actually breeds this knowledge in the minds of the people. So we have to also look at the society, where these young people are. I'm just looking at young people now. I know that there are lots of cases. I read in the papers yesterday of a 56-year-old man who was remanded for having sexual assault on a woman who is 110 years old. And that's rape.
That's like murder. It's not even rape. That's killing a woman. So killing her in a different way. She's not supposedly enjoying it. There is this concept: is rape a cultural thing? Because there are some societies in Africa where the men don't want to go through the hassle of this virgining their wives. And so the woman is asked to have sorted the problem out on the night of her wedding. They either go to a female circumcision, and while she's still bleeding, she's led to her marital bed. That happens a lot in some tribes in Kenya. And then there is the old tradition of the Yorubas. I'm sure a lot of people are holding cordials now, ready to kill me, that there is a ceremonial rape that goes on the wedding night, in the fact that they have to present the stained white cloths the night after the wedding. And generally in those times, they don't ask the girl if she was interested in the man. They pick a young girl and marry her off to an old man or a middle-aged man. And the fun of it is the screaming. And she being held down by the husband, proving the fact that she was vestal, she was virginal on her wedding night. So, Ayo, you are the dramatist, the producer. How do you subscribe to this information that rape in some quarters is generally perceived as being cultural? When do we start looking at the human being and not at the culture?
Well, As an activist or an advocate against rape, I believe in our culture too, but there should be a time when we begin to look at how does this culture negatively affect people. Now, when we begin to look at rape, the culture, from your own perspective, from the example you have given, is trying to position the lady as someone who is probably not promiscuous. Now, when you begin to now look at what we find even nowadays, it's not a function of whether we are talking of being promiscuous. Is someone says no to something and then you're saying whether you want it or not, you must want it. For me too, on another hand, a woman that is about to get married will begin to prepare for something like that. But we are not married, or even when we are married, I tell you, because there's what is called marital rape.
Yes.
Your wife says, I am not interested in having sex. And I
have headache.
At all costs, I must have sex. It is wrong. There is no justification to it. Because any culture that does not uplift or encourage the well-being of fellow human beings, then it will not work. It's not good. It should be jettisoned. That is my opinion.
There's a lady I have not mentioned all through this discussion, and I'd like to ask her a question right away. We are worried about what happens to our children. We are worried about the fact that we teach them those things, those famous uncles and aunties who want you to sit on their laps. And sexual violence, sexual abuse starts from there. And we hear stories about, some years ago, there was this fictional story that if you rape a virgin, you will not have HIV/AIDS. And not only in South Africa, it happened here in Nigeria. We had a couple of cases of children being raped. Laurel, you are looking after a young lady, a very exciting young lady. Do you think it is important for mothers, fathers, uncles, aunties to learn to teach their children body parts that they are not allowed to touch? Do you teach a child what are the consequences of having an uncle say in jest, will you marry me, you are my wife, and then it ends up that child is raped? Your comments?
Well, actually, it's expedient for parents of nowadays to inform and educate their children, both male and female. If you look at the psychological development of a child, averagely, you see the child becomes inquisitive. Even nowadays, at the age of 6, 7, he or she start asking questions. Probably maybe what he or she watches on the television, what he or she hears in school. And there is the need for parents to take away this aspect of keep quiet. You don't talk about sex at this age. What do you mean? Keep quiet. There is the need for parents, especially mothers, to be close to their children and inform them about body parts, and also ensure that they don't just go to anyone to play with. Either you're keeping your child with a neighbor, or you're keeping your child with a neighbor's brother, or you're keeping your child with a neighbor's homemade, and so on and so forth. But nowadays, we discover that parents are too busy to give attention to their children. They are too busy to talk to them. They are too busy to teach them. They are too busy to inform them. So it is very, very important. Where lately something happened in my community where you see a boy of 10 who because he wanted to play football, and his other mates threw the ball into an apartment and said he should go and get it. Immediately entered, they closed the door and started playing with his penis. And he was able to escape, ran to the mother, reported, and it became a police case. So, and one of them later confessed because the mother was just shouting and screaming. I told madam, keep quiet. Don't defend this boy. Let's hear him talk. So we had to talk into him, psych him, and he opened up to me why he didn't tell the mother. That actually another boy who is 14 plus and another older person who is learning baba or haircut, barbing, whatever, in the community has been abusing him. They've been having anal sex with him, and the mother never knew. So we have a lot of work to do. Apart from even mothers, even the communities, we need to come together so that we can save the tomorrow of those children, because they are the leaders of tomorrow. And if we don't do that now, we will all be found guilty if we are found wanting in our responsibilities. And when they are abused now, they are psychologically mutilated. They are physically destroyed. They are emotionally destroyed. So the value of sex later, the value of lovemaking, the value of true friendship becomes odd to them because they have a wrong impression of it. I have someone who said she had never enjoyed sex. Even the other one said, "Come on, oh yeah, remove your dress, open your legs." A married woman. So you can imagine. So such person can never understand the fact that sex could be enjoyable and it is loving.
Before I close, I have one question I want to ask you, Laurel. We parents sometimes enjoy this part of the day when everything is free, there's no sin. And so parents undress in front of their children. That after all, that's where they came from anyways. And so they don't find it odd to undress. And a 5-year-old protested against the father when she was having her bath, and the father wanted to come into the bedroom. And the father said, "What do you have there? What are you hiding?" How do we talk to such a father that a child must be taught early enough to dignify her body and learn to respect her own privacy?
Yes, sir. I think through a program like this and other programs that probably will come up or other awarenesses, there is the need for us to erase and erode this cultural things in the minds of our parents, I mean in Nigeria, because we know it's not that obtainable abroad. You can't just barge into your child's room without knocking and he or she says, "Come in, dad," or "Come in, mom." We watch that in movies and some of us have been privileged to be there. We see it happening. So now we need to educate our parents. Like I know of a man whose wife told me that his daughter cannot have a bath alone except with the father. She's 9+. She's going to 10. She'll be 10, I think, in the next couple of weeks. So you can imagine that. Now, I was telling somebody that if the father starts abusing this girl, the mother will never imagine because they believe that she's the only girl child in the family and she represents the father's mother who died long time ago. So you can imagine that's a mentality. It is important when we have programs like this, there is the need to let parents know that we should not undress in their presence. We should take cognizance of the fact that these children are inquisitive and they're learning. They will want to know. Have you seen a child saying, "Daddy, what is this? Are they balls?" A father having his bath in presence of a girl child. She asked, "Daddy, are these balls?" I'm saying the truth. What you mean, really? What people do is say, "She's my daughter. I want to take her bath for her." Are you telling me that the father will be washing her vagina for her, a girl of 7?
Excuse me, please. I'm going blue in the face. I see Shegu has his hand raised up.
I'm telling you, I don't want to mention name. If I describe very well,
please don't mention names.
No, you might have an idea. Probably you've not met the person, but you might have an idea. But that is what is happening, and it is truly happening. So we need to also inform the parent that there is the need for us to dress privately and then take the kids away from where we are. I was guilty of that with my daughter. I have 3 of the 2 others with me now, making 3 kids that I am raising. I was guilty because I used to undress in her presence, and when I'm on my period,
guilty as
guilty,
charged.
yes, guilty because later I realized that I need to stop it, even despite the fact that she's a girl. Okay, and when I'm on my period, she's like, "Mommy, when am I going to do my own? What is this?" I told her it's a part. Yeah. So you can imagine, but I know it is wrong.
Okay, Shegu, one comment?
Yes. What I'm going to say is we actually seriously need to be very, very careful in drawing lines because there's black, there's white, and there's gray areas
in between.
So there are always exceptions to certain rules that we actually think we are coming up with.
What kind of rules?
Some people,
a girl should be bathing with her father?
Some people grew up like that and did not have any issues. And some may have issues. So, because the thing is this, when you say something, you are most likely to get someone to be thinking what the person was not thinking before the person started hearing things like that.
Sorry, I would disagree with you.
That is.
Let me tell you something. Something happened that was relayed on the network recently. A father was arrested. He's been sleeping with his girl, with his own biological daughter.
We all heard that.
He impregnated her. And the excuse he gave was that the girl cuddles him regularly and he was tempted. He started kissing her. Now, you're saying the man is mad.
Yeah.
Okay, it's getting heated. I'm beginning to enjoy the section.
It is not natural for a man.
Some people see it and they don't practice anything.
The people that
should not be done so that they will not be tempted.
The issue is the people that
we should understand our boundaries as parents. We should understand our responsibilities as parents, and we carry first responsibility to ensure that the children we bear are gifts from the Almighty. and we should hand over to him a child that has been properly brought up to understand the dignity of his own person and the dignity of the persons of others. For crying out loud, we're discussing the issues of rape where the boundary lines have become so blurred, where we're also free with our personal bodies that when a girl truly says no or a boy is saying no, we ignore it and inflict ourselves. That's the word. We inflict ourselves on the person.
That is the word.
What is rape? It is denying a human being the right to say no. I don't want this. I wish we could go on and on and on, but it looks like we may not have much again to say today. We'll be back again on the same station, on the same program, and there are thousands other issues dealing with rape, sexual violence, domestic violence, and whatever. I would like to thank my panelists, Ayo Ajishafe, for coming, my petite Benedicta for coming, Laurel, my friend, my baby, my daughter, for coming, Omojade Ogudo, the NGO specialist amongst us, for coming, and definitely my Ted, Shegun Omojola. If you have questions about these issues, if you have comments you want to make, please text WhatsApp 0803-472-3894. Once again, 0803-472-3894. We'll be interested in learning and getting from you your impressions about rape. What have you experienced? What do you think about it? And next week, we'll be back with more issues on rape, domestic violence, and more likely than not, my same body of panelists. We'll be here to take your questions. Please send them in. If you want it to be anonymous, go ahead. Make it anonymous, but send it to that number, and we'll treat it as best as we can. I'd like to thank Head of Presentation, Deolu Boyega, Executive Producer, Kunle Adebayo. This is Biola Olatunde. I'll see you next week.